taking an idea and then getting some materials and turning that idea into something that actually is a piece of furniture. I think that's skill, and not everyone has it, and a lot of people do actually appreciate it.
I'm Robin Johnson, this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by Brandon Collins from Crabtree and Hargreaves.
That's a massive factory in Manchester. You know, you've got hundreds of people work there. You've got Fred fitting doors, and Steve's fitting magnet catches, and it just moves down the line. You can't have that level of attention and detail and bespokeness to something when you've got that. You just can't do it.
This show tells the story of the makers, the people that create things, whether it's in wood or metal, whether they're artists or musicians or chefs. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell their story.
That's the thing about cabinet making and bespoke making as well. It's just like, it is in the eye of the maker. I mean, I've done stuff before. You draw it up, you think, all right, that looks great. And you put it on a bench, you go, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And you start again. No computer will ever change that, ever. I don't think you can ever get to that point because it's a human thing.
I'm Robin Johnson, this is Yours for the Making, and I'm joined by Brandon Collins from Crabtree and Hargreaves. Now, my first question, Brandon, your surname's not Crabtree and it's not Hargreaves, but it's your business, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, why Crabtree and Hargreaves?
So many moons ago, we first started with my dad. And we had a business, it was called the Oaken Pine Warehouse. We always made bespoke, like oddball pieces here and there. And everyone's just like, oh, you just do Oaken Pine. It's like, no, we do everything. So it's like, oh, what can we do to like make it look like that we've got like, another side to the business as such, and it ain't just gonna like stereotype on what we do. So it's, we sat there, had a little bit of a brainstorming, and we used to do fishing. Like fishing used to be our thing. We used to run a carp lake over in Epping, and so like years ago there was a guy called Jack Hargreeves, and he'd done like a country program, and it was fishing in that. And then there was also a like a storybook with Mr. Crabtree,
Right?
And we put those two names together, and it was just to give that image. Like if you heard the name Crabtree and Hargreaves, it's just you just imagine two old boys in a workshop somewhere, you know, with the leather aprons on.
Mr. Crabtree.
Yeah.
It was Jack Blaine.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And people like, again, it's Brandon. It's just like, it is everything.
Yeah.
If really you can start off with that name, there's so many people out there go, oh, what's your name? Dave Smith. And they go, oh, right, what'd you do? DS Furniture. It's like, oh, come on. Be a bit more inventive.
I like that. I really like that, actually. I once did a job on a hotel, and the main contractor had a name. It was, I can't remember what the name, Steve Collins or something like that. And one guy there was called, and the other one was called, I don't know, whatever his name was, Dave or something. And they'd get people ringing the office every day. Yeah, can I speak to Steve, please?
Yeah. I'll get that.
There's no Steve here.
Yeah, Mr. Hargreaves, no. Mr. Crabtree there is like, no. And I go, oh, right. And I go, do you want to speak to him later? He'll be back later. And he says, like, it's a good way of sorting out, like, just a scam phone call or someone trying to sell you something, which is normal, most of phone calls. Isn't it?
I think that's a really good footing to start a business on. Is you've almost dissociated yourself from it a little bit. I mean, I've fallen foul of that. My surname's on the door, you know, my name's over the door, so I'm always going to wear that. But also, I wonder how difficult that would be if I ever wanted later on to sell it or something. I'm part of the brand as much as the brand is part of me. Whereas you've set yourself up a separate thing with a nice sounding name that conjures images in the imagination of two old chaps making the finest wooden furniture.
That is literally it. That was literally the thought behind it.
Brilliant.
Like, what can we do? And I say, like, we had a website, it was like Oaken Pine Warehouse, and then there's a little section you said Bespoke by Crabtree and Hargreaves. And
perfect.
I'm like, ooh. And we'd have all our bespoke stuff on there.
So Oaken Pine Furniture, that's how you started with your dad. And then, I mean, what do you do now? You make beautiful kitchens, don't you? How do you get from Oaken Pine Warehouse to making beautiful kitchens?
That's a good one, that is. So, when my dad very first started, he was actually a trained plumber and heating engineer, and he'd done all his City and Guilds, and he'd done it for a year, much to my nan and granddad's like despair because they paid like loads of money to send him to college and that. And he started buying and selling secondhand furniture and then antiques, and then he got into that, and then he started making a little bit. So yeah, and then restoring. He used to do a lot. He was a good antique restorer. And I used to go to school with it, go work with him like when I was off school, and yeah, I just picked all that up from there. Like from like probably 8. I can remember, but from about 8 years old, I used to go out like nearly every school holiday, Saturdays, and he'd go around all these antique shops picking up bits and go, you see stuff and go, what, that I can do something with. So he'll take that back to his little workshop or something else he'd just sell on. Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting. There was like all these different characters used to meet, and all had like weird names as well. They all have a nickname. It was like it was a guy who used to do wood turning, and it's called him Sniffer. I'm like, why on earth is his name Sniffer? I was just like, every time he picked a piece of wood up, he go like literally, and like he'd have voice, so Dave the Goat. So there was a guy, little goatee beard. He's Dave the Goat, and it was like that. And there's prop characters as well. Yeah.
This is, I'm guessing this is kind of East London coming.
Yeah. Originally, I'm from East London. Yeah. Originally, I'm from East London. Yeah.
Dave,
so it'll be
Dave the Goat sounds like someone you'd see in East London.
Fat Dave. Yeah. So we used to go. I'm originally from Bow. So yeah, it'd be like East London, Stepney, Hackney, all around that, all the old traditional furniture making areas of London. Yeah,
it's funny now. You drive through those areas. There's no furniture anymore down there. And then, so you were doing antique restoration and stuff with your dad.
Yeah,
and then you had an open pine warehouse.
Yeah. So you had basically, it was probably around about the late 80s when the antiques started to just die off. And obviously, like, Dad was like, well, what else can I do? What else can I sell? What else do I know? So pine furniture started to become a thing, and we started doing that. So for the retail shop that we had in East Ham, then that started getting bigger and bigger, and he started wholesaling it to other shops. Because obviously at the same time, you had all the other antique shops where their trade started to die down. So it's like, what are you doing next? It's that. Right, we start selling that. Then that escalated even more. And then when I left school, we done some antiques, like looking chairs. They started getting from China. Quality of them weren't too good, so bin that off. And then we started wholesaling farmhouse chairs and tables, and then the business just escalated, and then just took another direction. And then we had a retail shop again. That was doing fine. Dad got ill 2010. Couldn't work no more, and I'm left with everything. I'm like, right, okay, what do I do? And then we had the workshop. The retail shop was just headache, just running it. Yeah, it was just hard.
Did it drive a lot of business for you though, the retail shop?
Very seasonal. Yeah, very seasonal. It used to be good. I mean, we'd done all sorts. We used to have a place around the back of Lakeside Shopping Centre. So on a bank holiday weekend, I'd go around with all these little signs, put them on lampposts with arrows directing. It was a good drive. Like, so you used to go start like where IKEA is, put a size of lamppost. The amount of business that drive was unbelievable. Yeah. But the council weren't too pleased with that. So they had to take them down. They just put them back up and then take them down. So yeah, that weren't sustainable. But the retail, it was good, but it started getting tougher and tougher and tougher. So yeah.
So now you're just concentrating on bespoke kitchens?
Yeah,
and interiors?
Yeah. And we do the higher end stuff as well. Obviously, start where you start, and it's like, that gets competitive. You've got companies like Oak Furniture now doing a TV unit for £300.
Yeah.
I can't even buy the materials
exactly,
for that. Yeah. So you're like, well, where's the next market? And I was like, always remember, Dad's like, rich people always have money. Right, okay then. Right, so I need to do higher end. And yeah, just literally guiding the business to where it is now.
And then when did you make the decision to solely focus on kitchens?
Probably 2016. I think that's when we really started. We'd done a couple for clients, and then put it on our social media and website and stuff. And then you start getting a bit more inquiries for it. And then also you get a little bit of a name. You do one, and then, you've done my friend's kitchen. Yeah, done that one. And then it's, you've done my friend's kitchen. And yeah, so the recommendation really was really good. way forward for us. Yeah, and let's say like now, the social media it's so much more easier to put your work out there and for everyone to see it.
And are you designing the kitchens? How do you work? The client will come to you, you'll go and have a measure up or look at their plans.
Yeah.
You'll provide drawings and designs, you do the whole thing, the whole package.
The whole package, yeah.
Worktops, appliances.
The whole lot, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And do you find, I find dealing with, what I'd say like a retail customer, I find that fairly difficult.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
I much prefer to work with an interior design company or a project manager for a bigger project, because I find that if you've got one person that you're having an interaction with or one architect, and you just got the whole thing, you're just in with one person that sort of knows what they're talking about, knows what they want. I've moved away going direct to retail because I found that people would think that they knew what they wanted. They wouldn't really know what they wanted. But if they've got enough of an idea to think that they know what they want, that's almost dangerous, because when you make a recommendation of, look, I know you really don't want the bin on the other side of the room. I know you're going to want that when you're actually using it, you're going to want that bin close. You're going to want the fridge close, everything else. You know, you try and make recommendations, but sometimes it's great. If you get the right customer, it's brilliant. Yeah. But if you get that customer that knows exactly what they want, but you know, that's not how they're going to use it. So I always found that interaction a little bit difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I deal with we deal with interior designers. It's a much easier route, I must admit, because obviously that all the conversations about what's going on, that's already been had.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just like, great, there's some plans. We'll turn that into some shop drawings, get them approved, crack on. It's just, that is easy. Residential stuff, the direct to client, that's, like I say, it's a bit more challenging, but I do think if you can convey like across properly why you're doing things, I think it does make like a big difference. They tend to listen. You know, if you say, well, that is a good idea, but if you do this, and this will be much better. Plus as well, we've got like a good catalogue of work now, and we go, right, well, that's what we've done. And they go, oh, I love that. You know, that's that, and it sells itself.
And do you have a range that you kind of offer, or is it you do anything?
We will do anything. Yeah. We have previous projects that tend to guide people. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. So it's like if it's like a beaded in frame kitchen with a shaker door, you know, I like that. You know, people know what they like, don't they? We get people, they'll show us the picture. They go, oh, right, what about that? So yeah, fine. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
And where do you tend to work? Mainly
Essex, yeah. Central London. So a few interior designers they do Central London work. Like the nice high end stuff. And then I've done a few projects abroad before. So Chamonix, that was interesting.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Did you find it logistically quite difficult, or was it just a case of filling up a van and driving down and?
Yeah, the logistic part of things. Central London, I mean, like for us, it's like 15 miles to Central London.
Yeah, but that 15 miles might take 3 hours. Though.
Oh, it's insane. It is insane. Yeah, and then I don't think people quite understand what goes into getting a van from A to B. That's.
Especially,
it's expensive.
Especially Central London.
Yeah.
You know, you got congestion charge,
parking.
Parking.
Well, actually,
do you know what I find actually?
Fined.
Exactly. When we worked in Central London, like
just leave it.
We go through stages doing quite a lot in and around Mayfair, and actually it'd be cheaper for us just to pull up right outside wherever we're working,
get a ticket.
Yeah. Because actually the 1 or 2 days, if you can find a bay and you're going to pay your parking 20 quid an hour or whatever it is, the fine's cheaper. If you pay the fine in the 14 days, the fine's cheaper and you park right outside.
Yeah, we've done Grosvenor Square for about a year and a half ago, and we was there for quite a while. And there was a road where you could always park. It was just like, it was like 90 quid. Well, if you paid it, it was 90 quid.
Yeah.
And the fine was 70.
Yeah.
And they're like, I would just park up.
Yeah.
Just pay the fine. Just give me the ticket.
Because you factor it in anyway, the parking and transport.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
There might be one day when you don't get a ticket.
And
so
that did happen. So it was like touch.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's those little games when you price stuff in. It's those little games that make all the difference. Because if you're there for 2 weeks, but you've got 2 days where you haven't had to pay for parking or the ticket, that's like
that's someone's wages for half a day or whatever. And like you say, it all adds up. But like, I mean, like when we did that particular job, I went through all the logistics side of things and added it all up. And like, intuitively, I was like, what's this? Because I actually itemised it at the bottom. I was like, that's forgetting it. It's like, why is it so much money? And I had to explain it to her. And like, because she lives in London and she travels everywhere on the tube, so she don't park up anywhere. She just go for here and there, and it's just like, that's the actual cost of it. It's like, oh, I didn't realise that. You're not really?
Yeah, it's these things that you got to factor in. I mean, pricing, I think, is one of our strengths, but it's one of those things that to be competitive, I know that we'd win probably a bit more work if we're more competitive on our price, but I don't necessarily think, well, I don't try and be competitive. We price everything what it's, we get the material, that's what it's going to cost, that's the labour, here's everything else like the driving, travel time, parking, transport, and we just kind of present it like you do, kind of line by line to some clients, because we know that they're going to question why is that sum so big at the bottom. We tend not to break down quotes that much anymore. We just give the headline figure, because I don't want to be in a position where we're sort of bartering over little bits. Like for me, we just walk away from a job like that if we're haggling over transport or parking or whatever, and then for me it doesn't really feel right. Our price, I guess the same's for you. Our price. If someone wants to change the design to make it a little bit cheaper, fine, we can work on that. But when they start looking at like parking fines and new layers and trying to make suggestions that maybe we should get the train in and stuff like that, that's the point where we normally walk away from a job when it gets to that.
And it is hard, but as well, I like to convey this, look, it's not me being expensive, right? These are the other costs that go into it that I can't absorb, so you're going to have to pay for it. And I think I do that when I price the kitchen as well. It's just like, we'll have the cabinetry cost, fitting, hand painting, etc.
Do you hand paint?
Yeah.
After it's fitted?
Yeah.
Do you take it? How do you take it? It's like primed or
no, we actually take it with a finished coat. So as a finish, so we've had it before where we'd have a job that's been delayed. I would have hand paint booked in, because I don't have one like employed full time. It's a subby job, and I've got a couple that I use. And you go, right, well, that's 2 weeks late, and he's going, well, I've got bookings from someone else. So you go, right, and that's fine. But it will turn up all painted, finished painted, so we'll know what the client colour wants. And so it'll turn up all done.
Is that quite cause we've never really done hand painting stuff, but is that quite a desirable thing then, to have a hand finished?
Yes and no. There's a reason for it that I didn't realise until I started, because I always like, why would you want hand painted? Spray finish is so much better, and it is, because you can use better materials. You can use something that's like a lot harder wearing, like a PU paint. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you can rub that to the cows come home, and it will always stay on there. And then you do it, and always happen. You'll either someone knock it. You'll have a plumber under a sink, and he'll little front frame, that'll be scratched to bits, and you're like, oh, and it's such hard work to respray something when it's in situ. And it was just like, oh right, okay, so that's why everyone paints it. And that's the pure reason. It's just that at the end of the day, you've got to accept that it's going to get knocked. Paint finish isn't as easy to hide as, say, like you've got a timber finish, it has a little bit of a scuff. You probably won't even notice it. Or you can just rub a bit of wax over it or a little bit of lacquer on it, and it'll cure it. With a hand painted finish, or with a spray finish, once it's scratched, it's scratched. And you got to refinish that whole panel or that whole section. And that's a big job if you try to spray it on site. So it's easier just to get the hand painter in, and then everything's coated in. You get a neater finish as well, because we use like face on plinth, don't use a kicker, and so you'll always have that little line, so that gets caulked, gets painted.
So are you finishing it in water-based paint, and then he's hand finishing?
No, we use PU.
So he's PU. Yeah. What's he painting hand finishing?
It's a water-based, it's a water-based, but it's like It's like an enamel paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I hadn't really thought of that. I've got a friend that bought a fancy kitchen from one of them bespoke brands that, someone's name or whatever, and the kitchen's 120, 50 grand or whatever. It wasn't even that big kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to slag it off because he's a good mate, but I remember being at his house when he had the kitchen fitted, and he was really proud to show, oh, look, here's my wonderful kitchen. It cost me this much. And I was looking around thinking,
how?
Is this? Yeah. First of all, how? There's not a lot there. There's like a run and an island.
Yeah.
Second of all, I was thinking the finish on this is terrible. There's like pin heads going through the like the pelmet and the cornice and stuff like that, and bits of trim had been pinned on the pin heads. Some of the wood's been split and stuff. I was thinking, this is awful. He said, oh no, like you said,
sort that out. Yeah,
they got the hand painter coming in.
Yeah,
he puts a really good brain on it, and I thought, no wonder. No, I bet the fit time has reduced quite a lot on their kitchens anyway. You got two blokes come in, sling it in, and then I guess he just comes around with a bit of cork and a brush and just makes it all look nice afterwards. But at the time, I was thinking, they're having you on. That's not.
Yeah, I'm a lot more stringent with the paint finish. I won't accept it if it's a brush mark that you can see from, I don't know, from about that distance, from 2 foot away. That's like, I mean, I've used some really good painters over the years, and like one of them, I was like getting really close to actually see a brush mark. But that's the benefit of it turning up practically done.
Yeah.
So they're not actually doing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they're just giving it a final smooth over. If there's any knocks marks, they're getting rid of them, caulking all the joints, you know, just making it all look perfectly fitted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some absolute shockers over the years, and I've seen actually people advertise it where they literally turn up raw MDF and someone's going in there and priming it and painting. You think, oh my God, that's got to look absolutely awful.
Well, I tell you what, that's another reason why we don't really do a lot of retail, because what you're competing with, especially around here, you know, I've had mates that have asked me for, you know, built-in wardrobes and stuff, and I'm like, well, we'll do it, but we'll do it properly. We'll edge band a really good substrate board, we'll edge it in solid timber, and then we'll press the veneer ourselves, or we'll get a real good high quality substrate and we'll do a really nice spray finish in PU. And then it'll be ready assembled. We'll survey it, we'll draw it, it'll be ready assembled, we'll fit it, it'll be perfect. But you're going to pay a lot for it. You know, I don't really like working for mates and doing all that mates rate stuff. I find it all quite difficult. But I always say to them, look, you could just there's a, you know, site chippy, or come with some raw MDF, cut it on your driveway, sling it in a day. It's not going to look pretty, but by the time you've got a painter come in, it's not going to look bad, and that's going to cost you probably a tenth of the price of what it would cost us to do a proper job that would take, I don't know, a week, a couple of days fitting. Someone will do it on your driveway, they'll sling it in a day, and then the painter will be there, and they might take a day or two to do it. You know, do most people notice the difference? Probably not.
No.
And even, you know, I know probably the same as you, I see it because I'm not trying to look for it, but I walk in someone's house,
just notice
it, and oh yeah, okay.
I mean, like, the worst thing is, like, I've seen like some real high-end companies, and like, when I first started, it was just like this imposter syndrome. You think, oh my God, I'm competing with X, Y, and Z, and you're thinking, oh my, what I've produced, is it as good as theirs? And then, you know, couple of jobs come along and you start seeing stuff turn out. We've done a big job in Lingfield. We was there for 2.5 years on and off, and he had a well-known company do their kitchen, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I was like, wow, they got away with it. I mean, for that house, if I showed you pictures, we produced some really, really nice quality stuff. It was walnut. The guy was obsessed with American black walnut. We done everything: wardrobes, beds, the lot. Yeah, and then he actually was like a bit gutted. He was like, I wish I got done kitchen now. And we actually made the utility room. The utility room was better quality than the kitchen.
It's fun, isn't it, when you see that?
Yeah.
Because I'm the same. I suffer from imposter syndrome massively, it's mad now to think when I look back when we started, what we were doing to where we are now, it's a crazy evolution.
Yeah.
But still, I think wow, you know, we're going up against so-and-so. I doubt it. I question myself sometimes, but I think it's important because for me, if we win those jobs, then I know I'm going to make sure that we're working twice as hard as anybody else would. And we reject loads of stuff. The amount of times, in fact, I had one this week. We've set up a new spray booth, but it's not quite finished yet. So we're still spraying in the old spray booth, which isn't heated. It's middle of winter, it's freezing. And there's not loads of drying room. So every now and again, you'll get a panel that's got a little, a little bubble, a bit of bloom or scratch or something like that. I think in the other workshop, out of the 250 odd panels that we got down there, 2 out of scratch. So I rang the customer and just said, look, I know we're supposed to be shipping this up to you tomorrow, but there's 2 panels. It's not right. And actually, I sanded them back. They got a stain on, sanded them back. Scratches actually through the veneer. So sand it back, re-veneer it, do it properly. Only because it's got to be perfect. Otherwise, it's
same.
It's got to be right or it's not right. But it's the difficult conversation where you ring up and go, yeah, look, I'm going to delay you by 3 days, 4 days because there's 2 imperfections that I guarantee they'll never even see when it goes together. But someone will see it, and I notice it, and that's the main thing. So, but then I know that quality control, not everybody's like it. Especially, I think, as you get to the bigger kind of faceless brands who are, a bit more retail like that, I think they probably know that no one's going to see it.
The thing is, they can't be like it as well, because as much as you say that like they're producing bespoke, they don't really. They're production line. Yeah, the production line. I mean, like one very, very famous one is they're on lots of high streets and that's a massive factory in Manchester. You've got hundreds of people work there. You've got Fred fitting doors, Steve's fitting magnet catches, and it just moves down the line. And you can't have that level of attention and detail and bespokeness to something when you've got that. You just can't do it. You can't do it. And I think that's a really difficult thing for like bespoke companies, because like we all get bigger, don't you? I mean, whenever you started off, you got 1, 2. Obviously, it always starts with one person. Then you get someone else in, then someone else, then someone else, and all before you know it, you got a team of 10. And you're like, all right, well, I'm not a carpenter no more or cabinet maker. I'm a manager.
Yeah.
And
how did you find that transition?
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. I don't like it. I hate it.
You'd rather be on tools.
Oh yeah, like yesterday, I went picked some oak up, was making some corner posts for an island, so I planed it all up and machined up, glued them all up, and that. Yeah, I actually really enjoy that. Leave the phone in the office, and
I love it. I love it, but I find it slightly difficult now. But you've seen it down the other unit, it's rammed down there. And when everyone's in, it's hard because I haven't got a bench.
I get a bench,
And even near my bench in my own workshop, I haven't even got my own bench anymore. And to share with someone else, I just want them to prioritise what they're doing. So I come in and I make stuff. I stay in the evenings, make stuff. We don't work Fridays, so I work on a Friday if I want to make stuff, or over the weekends or whatever. And I love it. No one else in, put my music on, work my way around all the machines. And if I make a mistake, which often I can just sort of put it right. Whereas I feel like I'll be under the watchful eye, probably like what they feel when I'm down on the shop floor, like the watchful eyes on them. But because I'm not doing it every day, I'm living it differently now. That was my life. I lived for that for probably best part of a decade, if not longer. And now I've been in the office for a year or two, or a couple of years, maybe longer now. It's I feel like I'm a bit detached from it.
See, now I predominantly most of my work, so I did like a lot of the designing. Even saying that, I've just taken on someone to do a bit of drafting for him, and he does a couple of days a week. He used to work for another local company that I knew, and they're closing up. And funny enough, I'd done his parents' kitchen.
Oh, brilliant!
So when we was fitting it, he was like, "Oh, what's this? How's that?" And I was like, "Oh, right, okay." And through his stepmom, I knew who he worked for, and I was like, "Oh, right." And so it was a bit of a funny conversation. And then I heard, funny enough, I took a client round because we don't have showroom, and I'm really lucky, and I really do thank them all that a lot of my clients are going, "Oh, come around, bring people around," and I think that's so much better than having a showroom. You can always make something look perfect in a showroom, but when you go around someone's house, I mean, half the time I don't say nothing. It's just there you go. They go, "Oh, come in." They do all the selling for you. You ain't got to do nothing. And I think that's even better. But yeah, so we do. I do that a lot, and I've got to say, we work a lot local stuff.
Yeah,
and that's always a lot easier. And then it frees me up. I can go to site to people go, "Oh, we're having a building done. the designers come round. Can you quickly pop round, or can you do this? Can you do that? So yeah, all right, 20 minutes away. All right, I'll come out. You know, and you spend like half hour there, 40 minutes, and you are dealing with like higher end stuff, and people do want that kind of service. So that now frees me up to do that part of the job. I actually really enjoy that. I really enjoy that. I actually meeting people, seeing stuff, and you also as well, you can keep an eye on the build, keep up making sure that the builder's doing what you've got. I mean, we had one a little while ago. He's done the walls 600. What have you done that for? Oh, it's a kitchen cabinet. It's like, well, they're not 600, mate. When he gives you a right funny look, it's like, well, one look at the plan, because you've got my plan, and they're all at 7. Oh, so it's like, yeah, they need to be built at 750. And I've even wrote it on the wall, like in red spray paint, 750, and they just ignored it and just carried on. So build it out. It's your problem. Get on with it.
You end up being a troubleshooter, though, don't you? You go from working on a bench and making something to managing people, and now managing someone in an office, troubleshooting on site, meeting the clients. You wear a lot of hats, and I found that what's been good about our growth is that I've been able to take people on to take jobs off me. And that has been, ultimately, it sounds bad, isn't it? You want to employ so many people that you're not doing any work. I don't want ever that to be the case, but I think the bit that I'm finding, there's two things that my key roles now is getting the work in and keeping the client relationships going. And then also when we're fitting on site we don't do a lot of fitting, but when we do fit, I make sure that I'm part of that
just
team.
overseeing it, and same. They're pretty much the same roles. Like you say, you do withdraw yourself out of the day-to-day stuff. I mean, like apps now are really good. We use Trello and just like, right, put stuff on Trello board. Everyone knows what to do.
On which one?
Trello.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't used that one.
It's just like little like planning board. I'll show it to you. And it's just, I mean, a little while ago, I took my daughter back to university, and I had a week off in September, which is generally one of our busiest times because it's the run up to Christmas. You're generally hitting the point where all the summer projects that people doing extensions, that's when you start to do install time. Went out, wrote everything down. We went off and climbed up Snowdon and that, and like no phone signals. No one was calling you, but it was on that, and it was good because everything kind of runs quite smooth. Well, relatively smoothly. Well, as smooth as it can go, you know. It's like, but it does get easier. It does get easier, but you do find yourself going, "What do I do?" It's like even today, like a Friday, you're like, see you later, boys. I'm off to go and do a podcast. 5 years ago, never would have happened. Never would have happened.
When you build a good team around you, I'm really lucky. I've got a great team down there. When you build the right team, suddenly you think, oh, I don't need to be in every hour anymore. Oh, I could take a day off. Or, you know, I've been really lucky. I've had other TV stuff going on, but I know that I can leave for a week at a time, sometimes 2 weeks at a time. I might have to do a few emails, a few phone calls, order a few things or whatever, but I know that they'll just be getting on with it. And that's a real big thing, a big weight off my mind. But that's only because I've got the right people, a sort of a management team now as well, that can do all of that. Whereas I think the hardest, I've said it quite a lot, but I think the hardest times was when it was just like 2-3 of us, easy. Well, enough work coming in that we can all do the work, and I don't have to do any kind of admin or any sort of anything else. I can price in the evenings, I can look at jobs after work, and it was easy. And it was probably the easiest money I ever made. We weren't rolling in it, but like for every pound you earned, you were keeping
more cash in your pocket.
Keeping 40-50p of it, which was great. But you know, demand grew, we grew a little bit. Suddenly you got a bigger workshop, much bigger workshops, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, 20 odd staff. I think the hardest growth was from probably 5 to 8 staff. Because all of a sudden you're probably not quite busy enough to not be working, maybe. But also now you're managing people, you've got to bring 3 or 4 times more work in, you've got to order more materials, you've got to do all of these things, which is taking up nearly all your time. But you haven't got, I didn't have anyone to kind of manage everybody. So if I was up in the office, let's say, doing all the admin and the ordering and the pricing and the designing and all of that stuff, people in the workshop, sometimes they're like, oh, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah, that's a hard thing. It's like I found that it's like obviously you keep so much in your head, don't you? That's another thing. I'm terrible at writing stuff down, and that's one of the hard. And I think that just goes from being on your own. why write it down? You know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So and getting out of that habit is really hard. So yeah, getting stuff written down. I mean, one of the biggest changes we had, and I had that. We bought a CNC. It's like, right, panel saws. We had a few mistakes happen. You know, you put a flip slot down, there might be a little bit of chip behind it, and you're a mill off, and you cut 10 panels, and all a mill, and you're like, right, well, that don't fit. It's like, right, how do we get out of that? Buy a new panel saw. And we went to see a few, like, oh, I like that one, How much that? 30 odd pound. Got a lot of money for that. And we went to Felder, and he was like, oh, you looked at CNC? And we were like, tell me more.
I see you coming on the way to Milton Keynes. They're like,
yes. And I mean, it weren't an immediate buy. It took some time, but like a guy, the salesman, he was really good. Like, I think he really understood. Like,
did you have John?
No, Gary Lavis.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there for a good few years ago. But 2018, we bought it. Yeah, and he was like, "Hold your hand." Taught you, like, oh, okay, what's this?
Did it make a lot of difference for you getting that machine?
Oh, the only thing I hate about it is I never done it earlier.
Really?
Yeah. It's such. It's not just the machine; it's the whole way you operate. Because like we also bought software package. We use Cabinet Vision, and that is just a game changer. Because obviously from that's creating shop drawings, cut lists, reports. Then also you've got your visual side of things, so you can you got CAD drawings for clients, and we use another bit of software now to do renders and that. So I mean, like we do video renders. We even got we haven't introduced it yet because the workshop was not really quite like the right environment. We're going to change the office and make that into a little showroom. But I did a VR headset and we had it on the trial. And it is so good. Like literally, it was like, oh my God. If you can't work out what you're getting from that, there's just no hope. It is, they had an island and I wanted to touch it. Like literally, I was like that. And I thought, wow. And you can go up to a door and open a door. This is all like with VR headset.
Wow.
Yeah. And because you drawing to scale, you just say, right, well, this is what you're going to get.
It's interesting, isn't it? How much of an impact technology has on such a traditional thing as cabinet making, cabinetry, I think has been pushed on by technology so much in the last 10, 20 years. VR that's a real kind of game changer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think that AI will start coming into place where you can almost say to AI, I want a kitchen, it needs to have all these units, and then it designs it for you? Not yet.
No, not yet. I think there's a good few years before that's a reality. I think it's good for doing stupid things like dancing monkeys and stuff like that. I think that's what it's good for at the moment. And then like data analyzing, that's what it's predominantly for, isn't it? Really. But doing that kind of thing, I don't think it'll do it as good as a person because you have to put like your knowledge in that. And your own perspective. I think that's the thing about cabinet making and bespoke making as well. It's just like it is in the eye of the maker. You know, I mean, I've done stuff before. You draw it up. You think, oh, right, that looks great, and you put it on a bench. You go, oh, I think that's wrong.
Yeah,
I don't like that, and you start again. You know, and I think that's no computer will ever change that ever. I don't think you can ever get to that point because it's a human thing, and that is the thing about. When you do bespoke making, especially furniture, people like that human element. They like that human input.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I've mucked about with it. I've got a thing about making chairs and tables. I love making chairs and tables. And I was I was trying to make ChatGPT design the perfect chair. And it was like, have you seen that episode of The Simpsons? I always talk about it. The episode of Simpsons where Homer meets his long lost brother who designs cars, and his long lost brother says, "Oh, Homer, you're like the everyman. Tell me what you'd want in a car." And he's like, I want this, and he ends up making this car with like a bubble over the top of it and massive like wings on the side and stuff. And he's put everything in it, but he's not a designer, so he doesn't know how. He's just a simple man. He's like, I want everything. And then he ends up designing this terrible car, which his brother's like, oh yeah, this is the everyman car, and it bankrupts his business. He loses everything. I feel like AI at the moment is like the Homer Simpson. It's like, yo, do everything like this, but because it's not humanly touching it and interacting with it, doesn't know about what the ergonomics and is going to feel like.
Yeah.
It'll take the anthropometric measurement of a person and say, oh, it needs to be like this, but it won't know for feel on the comfort or how it looks. It's going off someone's comment on a website that says, oh, you want a cushioned pad to be an inch thick foam or something like that. And that's the information it's getting. It's not like a human feedback thing, I suppose.
I like when we do bars, people go, how hard's the bar? And I go, is that way? You know,
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Because that feels comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, you like, and everyone is different, but that's the way it is, isn't it? You know, it's that human input. A computer never going to have that.
We're doing a hotel at the moment, and we're making a lot of vanity units for the bathrooms, and they're all certain height.
Yeah.
There's been an issue, not to do with us, thankfully, but there's been an issue where the taps specify these big arm, like single arm lever taps, really like ornate cast things, incredibly expensive. We've made our vanity units, they've gone to fit the taps. They turned down like that, but they've been set a little bit too low. So they're going to clash with the marble on the top of the vanity unit. And one of the conversations to get around it was like, oh, could we, reduce the height of the vanity units, essentially chop the legs down a little bit. And I was like, not really.
Yeah.
The vanity unit needs to be a certain height, like a kitchen, because it's the height that people operate at. Yeah, some taller people, some shorter people. Short people might find it slightly difficult or more difficult. If we lower the vanity unit down, then the 6'5" guest is going to find it really difficult. But one of the designers said to me, you know why the vanity units are that high? I said no, and he said, it's for a gentleman. If he needs to have an intimate wash, he needs to be able to wash it at that height. I never knew that. But that's why they're that high. Apparently, for a gentleman's intimate wash. And I thought, oh, fair enough. And then I found myself going around every vanity unit going, oh yeah. But it's funny how these things
sort of need to be a lot further forward.
But it's funny how these things often works out. Like the kitchen height is like it's hip height, isn't it?
Height,
hip height, bar height, elbow height, and it's chairs and benches as well.
Yeah.
It's something about. Someone was telling me it's something to do with the height of someone's shin, but I thought no, that can't be true. So I looked at the anthropometric data of like up to his shin height. There's no chair that on the average kind of spectrum that's the underside of your knee.
Yeah.
Chair and bench, you're always slightly inclined, or you always
it always wants to promote you actually getting up.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting where all these little things come from. But yeah. So back to what you're doing day to day. What do you think is the best thing about what you do? I mean, you love what you do. You've been doing it a long time. You'd have quit a long time ago if it's something that you didn't like doing.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
Times are sometimes hard. I get it. But what is the best thing about what you do? What gets you up and into that workshop every single day?
I think it's just being creative. Actually taking an idea and then getting some materials and turning that idea into something that actually is a piece of furniture. I think that's skill, and not everyone has it, and a lot of people do actually appreciate it. Yeah. I've had a few things where you get, like years ago, this woman was like, oh, we want a fitted bedroom. I was like, all right, what are you looking for? Went through it all, and she went, halfway through, and she went, what I really want is this. And it was Clark Christian. I was like, well, okay. She went, I can't afford it. And I was like, well, yeah, you wouldn't be able to afford what they're going to charge you for it. But, at the time, that was me. I think we had 2 hours, and then 2 hours. So, all right, thought, it's not hard. It's just, there's a few mouldings in there, which you can buy. There's a resin moulding. I drew it all up. I said, shall I give a price? And she was like, yes, I'll have it. I was like, all right. And
that's what
it was like, I was like,
charge a bit more.
I've had plenty of them over the years. And we done it, and we fitted it all, done it all, and she cried. Yeah, she actually cried.
Is that bad?
Yeah. No, and her husband turned around and he went, bloody hell, he went, you've done a good job there. And I was like, that is like, do you know what? I don't think there's not many jobs that can give you that reward.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
We actually even done recently. We've done a kitchen for a joiner. He does a lot of like windows and doors and stuff, and he was super busy. He went, do you know what? I've not got time. You see, he bought a new panel saw to do it. He just never got round to it. And he's been in the house, I think, like 7 years or something, and never got round to it. And we'd done a few people that they knew, and he got us round. And he went, do you know what? He went, you've done a cracking job. He went, I couldn't have done better. And I think, again, that's like another like pat on the back. And it does make you feel that what you do is worthwhile. Yeah. I think that's another human thing as well. So actually having that, being productive and doing something that's rewarding.
And it's a business that I guess you sort of started it with your dad, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a time where you're going to try and get your kids into it?
Kids are into it.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, my son works for us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is he?
26.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you reckon one day he'll take the reins?
Oh, maybe. He's a lot different from me. I started when I was like 17, actually running things. He's never had that thrust upon him. I think he probably could do it. I mean, to be fair, he does do it. If we're away and he's not come with us, and he does step up. Give him his due. He does step up. He can do it, but I think when I'm there, he just sits back and it's just like, Dad's got it. But yeah, he is reliable, and yeah. But you got so much to learn. You got so much to learn, and I think that's the other thing as well with like the skills gap. It's like, obviously I've honed my skills that I've been taught stuff since I was like 10 years old. I learned to French polish at 12. You know, that's not something that people are learning nowadays. Yeah, it was just antique restoring and stuff like that. He's like, I learned that as a kid, and people are just not learned that just because those businesses are not around anymore. So you haven't got that transfer skill from father to son or grandfather to grandchild. You know, that's just not about to the extent it was. So I think technology is actually bridging that gap, and that was another thing as well. Like when we got the CNC, I had my younger brother working for me, and his mate. I mean, they're computer whizzes; they're not woodworkers. But all of a sudden, you've bridged that skills gap. If they can draw it, they can make it. Yeah, I mean, you still obviously got the materials knowledge, and I think that's the big thing. That if you're a CNC operator, anyone can press some buttons.
Yeah,
you know, draw something on a computer if you've got that skill, but you have to have that materials knowledge. I mean, when we first got the machine, had a job come up. We done all the fence posts for the St James's Palace and Clarence House. Yeah, if you walk around there and you'll see like these wooden fence posts, and all got a little shape at the top. We've done all of them, and the guy was making this joiner, you know, and he's like, "Can your machine do these?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And it was just a shape. It was like a lot fleur-de-lis shape. And he was cutting them out with a jigsaw and a router, but he was getting it all blowing out. And so I was like, right, how do we do this? He was like, right, okay, we've got a left-hand rotation tool and a right-hand rotation tool, and you come in one side, cut one, come the other side, cut the other. And like, we done about 2,000, 3,000 of these posts in a week, you know. And every single one of them comes off the machine perfect. You know, you didn't even have to touch them. And I don't think you could do that by hand.
No. Well, you could.
Well, you could.
Not in a
week.
week.
Yeah. And the labour intensive. You'd have to do some other works to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing with technology now, that it lets people who haven't had the time to learn those skills. You bridge that gap. And again, the kids nowadays, they don't want to do an apprenticeship for 3 or 4 years and earn no money.
And then be an improver for probably 2 or 3 years or after that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long time, like you're saying, it is a long time to learn all the skills. You've got to be really hungry for it.
Yeah. And I think just the way life is at the moment, people just can't afford it. Like you're earning like pretty much minimum wage for a good part of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's hard. So bridging that gap, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just a progression. Like everything progresses, doesn't it?
You're talking to the converted. We got our first CNC in 2020, and initially I thought, we'll just use it for jigs and stuff like that. Within about 2 months, we're making all panel stuff we're doing on it, all cabinet stuff we're cutting on it, near enough everything.
Yeah.
We were doing all of our jigs for the spindle, all the curved jigs and stuff, but also we were making all of our welding jigs as well, because you just cut it out of MDF and it'd slot in perfectly. You'd slot your bars in and everything else. It became the best tool ever. And like you said, I was just annoyed I didn't get it earlier. Then now we've got this one. It's a step in the right direction, but this one was a big game changer, a big 5-axis thing. But the learning curve for that was quite intense. Like the other thing, the 3-axis CNC, I could run it all day long. It's like if you could use Microsoft Paint, you could use that machine as long as you knew about the cutting speeds and the cutters you were using and everything else. It's easy. This, however, you got to probably the 3rd day of the training on it, and I thought, you know what, I'm not the one that's going to be using this, so we're going to need someone that's going to be really good at 3D design and understand that software, and then someone else that's going to be able to operate the machine that really knows about engineering. Actually, when we put a job advert out for a CNC operator, let's say we had 100 applicants, 95 of them came from a metalwork background, and we interviewed a few of them, but we knew clear as day, he was like, you know, all of them were like, oh, I can use this machine, similar machine to cut metal, really precise engineering, but it's like exactly what you were saying. They're not going to know about tear out. You don't get tear out on metal. You just put the, you know, cutting speed, fluid, whatever, and it's cut. I mean, maybe I'm being naive because I don't really know about metal, but I'm pretty sure when I've milled stuff in the past, you don't really worry about tear out. Whereas timber, you worrying about the cutting depth, the speed, the right hand bit, the left hand bit, where you're entering and how you're entering the cut and stuff. All these things are really important things. So when we found someone that had experience in operating a 5-axis machine and in wood, it was like, brilliant. This is the one. And actually, it's been but it's funny when you make an investment like this in a big machine like this, you don't suddenly think, I'm going to need to invest in 2 other people as well. You just think, oh, that machine I'll save up for, it'd be great. But then there's all the other stuff that comes with it, isn't it? But it's 100% worth it because it's enabled us to the output that we can do, and what we can do with it is we couldn't have done it otherwise.
Well, that's the thing I noticed. Like literally the first job we done, it was just like, oh my God, this is just so much, and everything's done. Just like before, it would be panel saw, cut everything. We used to pocket hole it for the joint to join everything up. So then you got to do that process. Then once you've assembled it, you got to mark it for if you're using concealed hinges, putting your hinge holes in, putting shelf pins in, putting runners in. Now it comes off there. I mean, it does dumb things down. Like the guys on the bench, majority of the time, they're just assemblers. But everyone has got that skill in the workshop they'll be assembling one day. They could be doing veneering the following day. You know, having that crossover of skills, I think that's important.
It is,
and that's another thing as well with cabinet mates. You have to have a lot of skills, like a lot of skills, and be good at pretty much all of them. We try and make as much as we can in-house, just for the fact that you got more control over it. If something goes wrong, you can then remake it. You're not relying on someone else. I think that's important.
I think you're right. But it's the logical change, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, cabinet makers, when probably substrate boards became available, like the first plywoods and stuff, when that came out, I bet the cabinet makers, some of them would have been like, oh God, I can't believe you're using that stuff instead of solid wood. But then the people that embraced it would have started. I mean, that's probably not too different to when you would have an oaken pine furniture. When it started going towards MFC and MDF, that's the people that jumped on board with that are the people that are, you know, big multinationals now, I suppose. But I think CNC technology is that same thing. If you're still, you know, if you're getting to a size where you're making a lot of stuff and you're not using CNC technology, I think that's maybe a mistake.
I think there's so much more affordable as well. That's the thing. Like, you won't get something that can run 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you can get something that'll cut a reasonable size job up and do pretty good, like be pretty accurate. And the things like machining, we do some complex things like fluted panels and stuff. You can set the machine up, let it run, go and do something else. You know, it's like
don't tell your health and safety guy that.
Whilst also observing that it's we got the laser brake beam on it, so you go near it, it'll just shut down. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. I mean, like, some of the best things I like about it is, like, you'd be cutting a job, that would cutting, and you'd be doing the edge bander.
Yeah.
Right, and you'd be edging it. So that's one person's, it's all of a sudden you become so productive.
Well, that's why we've got it set up like this in here. We've got the CNC behind it, we'd be cutting out the edge bander over there that we can be edge banding, and then go straight through the sander here. And it's like
one person. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All in one room, all contained. And then we just trolley it out down to the veneer shop or next door to the paint room or whatever. It's those little bits of efficiency. It doesn't really matter when there's only one or two people, because, you know, if you save a couple of minutes here or there, it's not going to make a difference. But suddenly when you're talking about having to get jobs done on time and having a load of people and weighing up your labour costs against time wasted, these little efficiencies make all the difference. We took a week
out of the job.
Really?
Instantly.
Wow.
Instantly. Took a week. And that's, for 3 people at the time, that was like, oh my God.
It doesn't take long for that machine to pay for itself, then, does it?
No. And I mean, like, when we got it, so we had that fence post job. That's something we never have got. Never have got that. COVID was another one. One of the companies we deal with, we do a lot of their, like, just standard joinery stuff. Nothing exciting. Every now and then they do a nice office fit out, and we'd do that. But during COVID, he's rang me up, says, "Can your machine cut plastic?" I was like, "Yep."
Clear plastic screens.
Yeah, clear plastic. We was making plastic sneeze screens day in, day out. It was so busy, and you're like, what? And, like, again, so many companies, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And, like, there's us absolutely tearing along. Not only was we doing plastic, we were still making cabinets as well. I mean, lucky enough, literally the week before all the lockdowns we took a new build on. It was 2 new build houses, and we had a job come up in Belsize Park, and COVID was a godsend, because it was like an hour and a half journey. So it turned into 40 minutes. It was brilliant. Yeah.
We had one in Gatwick, and it's like we could get from here to Gatwick in, well, I'd see what the legal time is. We're getting there quick.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Really quick. You'd see maybe 1 or 2 other cars on the road. It was brilliant. It was a bit of a shock when it all came back to normal again, and we were like, 2-hour drive again, or whatever it was.
But yeah, without that, would we still be here? That's the other question, you know. Was that income that we generated then? Because obviously there was stuff that we weren't getting. We weren't getting people coming for, oh, we'd like you to come around and look at this and this, we're going to be doing this project. I mean, obviously we had that little bit of that boost straight after, but yeah, the bit in between, would you still been around? Who knows?
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one question I ask everyone is, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? You're already a couple of years in the game then.
Yeah. I've seen a few of these podcasts, so I should. I thought about this already. I would say, looking back, I would say, go work somewhere else.
Really?
Yeah, go work somewhere else. Do it for, like, a good few, and go and work other places. Like, not just one. Go and work at a few other places and see what they do. Because, like, I've had no formal training in woodwork whatsoever. Yeah, everything is self-taught, and I've had to learn by mistakes. You know, a lot of my learning's been by messing things up, getting things wrong. You go, oh, well, I won't do that again. Yeah, and I think I would have skipped a lot if I'd gone to work, seeing how it's done by other people, and things as well. When you do that, you do get a good base for your learning and your skills. Again, I probably took longer than other people to get that far, because I haven't had the basic skills learning. But yeah,
that's really interesting that you say that, because I mean, there's a lot to be said for going and learning, especially on someone else's dime as well.
Yeah,
learning all the skills that you need to learn, even to the point of running a business as well. There's a lot to be said for that.
Well, it's everything, isn't it? It's just watching, how they process things, how they actually manage the work. I mean, managing, like, that's something no woodworker goes into woodworking going, right, I'm going to be a factory manager when that's what I'm going to look forward to. You don't, and probably 9 times out of 10, that's the way they go. Like even like people like one man band, they will always take on 1, 2, probably 3 people. You've still got to do managing, and that's a skill that's hard to learn. And you've got to be good. I mean, there's so many people out there. I know a few people, and they're awful. Their person skills are absolutely awful. So you've got to learn that as well.
Yeah, probably best to learn it. But then I wonder if you had gone out to work for someone else, when you set your own thing up, if you'd have set your own thing up, would you have done it to mirror or to copy what other people do? And I think maybe, because I'm the same. I didn't work it. I mean, I didn't work in any other joineries or stuff. I just set my own thing up because I'm bloody minded and that's what I wanted to do. And I've done it the way I've wanted to do it, and I've learned along the way. But I wonder if, because I've done it that way, that I'm in the position I'm in now, because I've taken things, different risks to what people would have done. I haven't done things necessarily the traditional way of doing it. And I've looked at things from, a different perspective of how can we do it? What's the best way to do it? The most efficient way of doing it? Am I looking at it the wrong way? And I sometimes think if you're trained, X is X.
Yeah,
Y
the blinkers
Y.
go on.
Exactly.
They go, no, this is the way it's been
College
done.
has told me that, and then my foreman's told me that, and I need to do it like that. That's the only way you can do it. I wonder if there's something to be said for doing it the way that we've done it, by making the mistakes and going, oh, that didn't work this time, so we'll try it this time, rather than being told this is the way you do it. Maybe.
Yeah, I actually would agree with you, because you're not afraid to try things. I think that's the other thing as well. You know what? Let's do it. If it goes wrong, what's going to happen? Worst case scenario, you might break something. You might have to do it again. I think, that is true. Yeah, who knows?
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, probably a bit of both. I definitely would say working for someone else, just getting an idea of how someone else does things is a good thing to pick up on.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to give that some thought, actually, some reflection on whether that would have been the one for me.
Actually, even when we started kitchens, I did consider thinking like, right, well, let's go and work somewhere, even if it's for a couple of weeks, just to do a bit of spying, just go, right. And you'd cut out a bit of learning, I think.
Yeah, probably is. Probably right. We'll send a spy in there. Send your son in.
Probably won't come back.
So where can people find you?
Social media, Instagram, Facebook,
just
TikTok.
Crabtree and
Hargreeves. Yeah. Website, crabtreeandhargreaves.co.uk and .com.
If you want a beautiful bespoke kitchen, hand-painted beautiful bespoke kitchen in London or Essex, then get in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
Brandon, it's been really, really good chat. Really nice to meet you. And I can't wait to see even more of your kitchens popping off from my Instagram.
You'll see there plenty.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Hopefully speak to you again soon.